Hello, everybody. Welcome to another amazing episode of Youth Connect. I'm Aiden.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
Hi, I'm Joshua.
I am Logan.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey.
And welcome to our Youth Connect. Hello, fans, and hello, viewers, for another awesome episode of Youth Connect. I hope that you guys are excited for it as much as we are to share the news with you. Now, I should always go over our usual thing. What in the world is Youth Connect? Well, Youth Connect is a news, interest, entertainment show that was created during the epidemic for the community, by the community. Everybody here is advocates of all abilities, and as broadcasters, entertainers, we want to be included in opportunities for acting jobs, directing, writing, chefs, speakers, musicians, you name it, and we want to do it. We are a group that is all about kind of getting into those experiences and exploring new things every single day. But I know out of all of this, Youth Connect is a show that you are going to love. Now, you've met my other co-hosts. We got Logan, we got Jeff, we got Joshua, and we got Kevin. But the first things first, we always have to start off with myself. And what will I be bringing you? Well, I will be bringing you some gaming news. All right, guys, it's time for that Spotlight Game of the Week. Now, what is Spotlight Game of the Week? Well, basically, it's a game that's going to be shining on with the spotlight, a game that has either been released recently, a game that's coming out soon, or a game that is an old classic. So what is today's Spotlight Game of the Week? Well, apparently, it is a mixture of an old classic plus a revamped new game that just released yesterday. And today's game of the week is called Gimmick Special Edition. So what in the world is Gimmick? Well, I want to talk to you about Gimmick first of all. What in the world is Gimmick? It's a game all about gimmicks. Well, I mean, obviously that's the name. But Gimmick was exclusively released on the Famicom NES in Japan and Scandinavia in the early 90s. So actually, we never got it in the US. It pushed the console to its limits, and the Japanese cartridge featured Sunsoft's 5B, a custom sound chip that let, sorry guys, here's the name. I don't want to butcher it. Masashi Kageyama composed a beautiful star-studded, as they said, soundtrack. Gimmick apparently remained one of the most valuable and rarest NES cartridges ever made, guys. This is one of the rarest NES cartridges ever made. And that's absolutely mind-blowing. So what is Gimmick Special Edition? Well, Gimmick is a game all about experiencing a stunning physics-based platformer. And what does this new version add? Well, it adds updated features like an online leaderboard, achievements, a time attack mode, save and quick load, a rewind function, and a gorgeous gallery with cartridges, art, and scanned manuals. So, guys, I am absolutely disappointed in myself as a gamer because I have never ever heard of Gimmick. I saw the trailer for this game and it looks absolutely mind-blowing. So apparently it's one of the rarest NES cartridges ever, only released in Japan and Scandinavia. What a weird place to choose your game to be released in. But I mean, I wasn't the developer. I didn't release it. And interesting factor is that now that I know what this game is, I'm going to have to check it out. Apparently, it blew mind because of the way that it like literally stretched the capabilities of the NES to its literal limits, from the way it was designed to kind of like being like, I want to be the guy, if you guys know that game series. It was a very, very hard game series, and this one follows the same thing. Now, this has been the first gaming news. I recommend checking out Gimmick Special Edition, or if you are a fan of the original series, I recommend just checking out Gimmick just to research about it because it's still a really cool game. But anyways, next up is Kevin with his all-important news, but I just cannot wait to hear about his interesting fact of the day. It's absolutely my favorite.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Youth Connect with your host, Kevin Aruja. For now, let's go to see our headlines. Ontario starts redevelopment work for new large-scale nuclear plant. Canadians eligible for GST credit expected to receive grocery rebate today. The section of Bloor-Denford subway line will be closed on Sunday morning. And Canada's Denis Shapovalov and Bianca Andreescu advanced at Wimbledon. The first story is Ontario is looking to build the first new large-scale nuclear plant in more than 30 years to meet the province's growing electricity demands. Energy Minister Todd Smith is announcing today that the government is looking at a new plant to generate up to 4,800 megawatts, enough to power 4.8 million homes, on the site of Bruce Power's current generating station on the shore of Lake Huron in Tiverton, Ontario. The plants are part of a province attempt to meet electricity demand with non-emitting sources, though in the short to medium term, the province is also relying on more natural gas generation. A report late last year by the Independent Electricity System Operator found that the province could fully eliminate natural gas from the electricity system by 2050, starting with a moratorium in 2027. But it will require about $400 billion in capital spending and more generation, including new large-scale nuclear plants. The province launched consultation on that idea, and Smith said he heard a lot of support for new nuclear to prepare for surging electricity demand in the 2030s from electric vehicles, new electric vehicle and battery manufacturing, and electric arc furnaces for steel making. Canadians eligible for the GST credit are expected to receive a special payment today to help with the rising cost of groceries. The payment, which the Liberal government is calling the grocery rebate, was promised in the spring budget to help Canadians cope with food inflation. Couples with 2 children can expect it to receive up to extra $467. Single Canadians without children can expect up to additional $234, and seniors can receive an extra $225 on average. The federal government also provided a similar payment last fall in what it said was an effort to blunt the effect of high inflation on low and modest income families. Canada's inflation rate slowed to 3.4% in May, but grocery prices continue to rise rapidly, with prices up 9% compared to a year ago. A portion of the Bloor-Denford subway line will be closed on Sunday morning to allow crews to carry out work on the Bloor Viaduct. In a news release issued on today, the TTC said service on Line 2 between St. George and Broadview stations will begin by noon on Sunday to accommodate beam replacement. Bay and Sherbourne stations will be closed on Sunday morning, but all other stations will remain open. On Wednesday and Thursday next week, the TTC said service between St. Clair and York Mill stations on Line 1 will end at 11 p.m. as track work is undertaken, and on Friday, subway service between St. Clair and Shepherd Yonge Station will end at 11 p.m. Shuttle buses will operate during the closure. In sports news, Denis Shapovalov and Bianca Andreescu advanced on Thursday at Wimbledon on the mixed day for Canadian players at the All England Club. Shapovalov, at the number 26 seed from Richmond Hill, Ontario, defeated Gregoire Barrere of France with a score of 6 out of 3, 6 out of 4, 7 out of 6 in round 7 in second round men's single play. He needed more 1 hour, 52 minutes to complete the victory. Andreescu from Mississauga, Ontario, opened with a score of 6 out of 3, 3 out of 6, and 6 out of 2, win over Hungary's Anna Bondar. The 50th ranked Canadian will face 26th-seeded Helena Kalinina of Ukraine in the second round. Milos Raonic of Thornhill, Ontario, and Leila Fernandez of Laval, Quebec, lost their respective second-round single matches, while on Ottawa's Gabrielle Dabrowski fell in women's doubles. Many matches were suspended or postponed over the first few days of the Grand Slam event due to wet weather. In today's weather forecast, we've got sunny this afternoon. The temperature is now 27 degrees. And tomorrow we will get a mix of sun and clouds, and the temperature will be 26 degrees. And now for the new topic for interesting fact. Do you see with the new background? Yeah, it is strawberry. I'll tell you why what strawberries was really important fruit. The story goes strawberries are one of the world's most popular fruits. They're bite-sized and really, really sweet. But what's not to love, they're also incredibly nutritious, packed with vitamin, fiber, and antioxidants, known as polyphenols. Apologies. People have likely eaten wild strawberries for millennia, but cultivation officially began in the 1300s in Europe. People in France first transplanted the wild strawberries into the garden in the 1600s. Colonists discovered and shipped it to Europe. Though this species was hardy and delicious, it did not become popular until the end of the 1700s. In early 1800s in England, at the same time, a French spy discovered the Chilean strawberries and brought it to France in 1714. This species boasted a larger size than previous strawberries, but was not hardy and was not difficult to grow away from mild coastal climates. When French cultivators crossed the Virginia strawberry with the Chilean strawberries, the magic happened. The resulting strawberry tasted great, had a substantial size, and was hardier. And now for the facts about strawberries. Did you know strawberries can be a variety of different colors in addition to red? Strawberries can be white, could be pink, could be yellow, and gold, and could be golden hued. This variety are created by crossing wild strawberries and saving the seeds from the different hued plants. The second fact that you didn't know was National Pick Strawberries Day. It was celebrated on May 20th. A national holiday celebrates 20 strawberries on May 20th. National Pick Strawberries Day encourages people to take a trip to a local strawberry farm to pick strawberries and plant their own plant at home. Another thing for strawberries, there is a museum in Belgium just for strawberries. Strawberry season is important in Belgium, especially in the town of Wepion. That's why they dedicated an entire museum to explaining the history of strawberry growing in the region and is important to the economy. So now that becomes the end of my segment. Tuning for next week's news, weather, and very uninteresting fact. And I'm sending you back to Aiden. See you next Friday.
Now, guys, I will talk about strawberries because I absolutely love learning about strawberries. Did you guys know that there are technically a lot of different colored strawberries? But did you know that strawberries come in the colors red, which are the most common, white, which is also very common, and purple? Yes. Did you know that the purple strawberry is called a purple wonder? That's amazing. Now, I will ask, has anybody here done some or planning a late strawberry picking? Because I learned the strawberries are picked in early June, or sorry, late June to like early July. So, I mean, if you guys have planned some kind of like strawberry picking, or if you want to share your strawberry picking adventure, you can always type a comment down below and share with us. And I will say, Kevin, did you do strawberry picking yet? Because I feel like I haven't yet, and I might need to do it.
Well, I never been planning to go to a strawberry farm, but we will plan for maybe this summer.
Nice, nice. I will ask for you, Logan, and of course you, Joshua, and you, Jeff. Did you guys do any strawberry picking, or are you guys not the biggest fan of strawberries, or you just didn't have the time to do it?
I haven't done it yet. No. We usually buy them.
I think I might need to have to because I absolutely love strawberries. Strawberries are my favorite things in the whole wide world. Unfortunately, though, I wish we got some white ones. They would be really cool to try out. But thank you so much, Kevin. It's always great to learn about your all-important news. And now we are going into our second gaming news. Now, if you guys are a big fan of Pokemon, be warned, I got some interesting news. So in 2019, the Pokemon Company released this kind of tracker app called Pokemon Sleep. And now, literally yesterday, we got a trailer for Pokemon Sleep. And the video titled How to Play with Pokemon Sleep is probably the closest thing we'll ever get to a gameplay, which I'll say in quotes because obviously it's not a game, but a gameplay trailer that we're going to get. Unfortunately, though, it did not include an official release date. So basically, it only demonstrates quite efficiently, let me remind you, how to use your thumbs to activate what is mostly a standard sleep tracker aside obviously from the massive Snorlax in it. So according to the introduction video, the Pokemon Company showed during its March Pokemon Presents Snorlax. Now, why would they choose Snorlax for Pokemon Sleep? If you know, Snorlax would probably be a primary Pokemon to choose for this, and is the primary resident of the Sleepy Island the game takes place on, because it is literally titled The Sleeping Pokemon. That is what Snorlax is, and honestly, that makes sense to me. So apparently it says that each week you'll partner with a Snorlax that will grow bigger over time. And as it grows, so will your chance to see rare sleeping styles. Now that's interesting, especially if you get regular sleep. So these sleep styles are like, for example, a Slowpoke's Zonk sleep or a Diglett's open-eyed above ground sleep. And they can add up in your sleep style decks. So let's see here. We got a sleeping app that you get to learn Pokemon sleeping styles. I will say this, though. It definitely is a unique kind of thing that Pokemon is doing. And I mean, I've never really thought about Pokemon sleeping and the ways that they would sleep. So, I mean, it's a good way of kind of trying something new, dipping their hands into new styles. So, honestly, Pokemon seems like a go for me. I can't wait to check it out, even though that my sleep schedule is a little bit bonkers sometimes. But really interesting facts. Make sure to keep your eyes peeled for Pokemon Sleep. I will as well. And next up is Joshua, and he's going to be bringing us our good story news. And of course, make sure you're tuning in because he will be sharing the fan favorite animal news.
Good afternoon. Welcome to UConnect. Now for a good news story. In her 11th week of pregnancy, the mother, Heather Delaney, learned that she was carrying twins connected at the head, and the girls were born at 30 weeks gestation, weighing just 6 pounds combined. They remained neonatal intensive care unit until their first birthday, when they underwent a pioneering procedure to separate their skulls at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. Although both daughters have developmental difficulties, Abby and Aaron are both thriving as they approach their 7th birthday. According to proud parents Heather and Riley, who watched their girls graduate the kindergarten this month, there are days now where I sit back and I can't believe how incredibly lucky we are, said the 33-year-old stay-at-home mom. Yes, they have disabilities and things they're working through, but they're so happy. Watching them graduate, it was like we were dreaming, said Heather. Watching them graduate, it was like we were dreaming, said Heather, who lives in Statesville, North Carolina. We don't know yet what they can accomplish, so the sky is the limit for them. Heather further added that it has always been their goal in sharing their story to try and reach any other parents faced with the same type of pregnancy to give them hope. They want to show there's the possibility they can be separated and then lead healthy and happy lives. Now look at them, how she is so proud of them both. Now for another good news story. After moving to Texas from the East Coast, a family adopted a neighborhood senior who jumped in to welcome them. Shireen Carabello and her husband Wilson met 82-year-old Paul Callan in March last year when Wilson began working on their recently purchased home, and he offered him a ladder to work with it. From then on, it didn't take very long for the family of 8 and their new neighbor to become close, and for Paul to take on the role of de facto grandpa. A retired Texas Instruments manager, Paul's wife, sadly passed away 6 months before the family moved into the neighbor, and Shireen thinks her family provided an important refuge for Paul. Shireen and Wilson were really apprehensive when they moved into the new neighbor, but Paul's warm welcome really helped put them at ease, offering the new homeowner advice and help with all kinds of issues they were facing with their new home. He was coming over with tools. He'd bring screwdrivers and teach Wilson how to fix up the garage, and Wilson followed all his advice, explained Shireen. He's always coming over with little with little trinkets for the little kids. For the kids, they play with him a lot and call him Uncle Paul. He's got stories for days. Shireen's kids love him as much as she does. And the elderly man makes great efforts to make them feel at home too. As much as Paul has helped the family, Shireen thinks her family played an important role in the months that followed the passing of Paul's wife. Now turn to animal interest news. When Crystal and Brandon Walls first watched what was captured on their security camera, they were shocked. The other animals were terrified. Brandon says before pointing to the footage of the goat racing around the hobby farm, they were fleeing from a black bear that had broken into an enclosure. All except for one animal they couldn't find on the screen, a pig named Barbecue. Barbie had been living inside Crystal and Brandon's home since she was a baby. When Barbie wasn't playing with a pack of dogs or caring for their collection foster cats, she'd be hugging up to people. As Barbie transitioned from living inside to outside, she started looking after the farm animals. When the other animals were frantically running from the bear that night, she emerged from her enclosure and Barbie found herself snout to snout with the bear. It was Big Bear versus her little pig. Barbie made the first move and charged at the bear. The bear jumped and retreated, then sat down and put up toward the pig, like it was saying, "Stop, I surrender." Crystal says it was shocking to see, but Barbie held her ground. Finally, after the bear left in defeat, Barbie the hog returned to her friends a hero. I think it's a classic story, David and Goliath. I think it's a classic David and Goliath story, Brandon smiles. Crystal is proud to call her brave baby an inspiration. We're stronger than we think we are. Crystal smiles before wrapping her arms around the pig with an appreciative hug and giving her a kiss. I think Barbie's taught us that. This is Josh's show reporting for Youth Connect. That's it for me. Now I'll send it back to you, Aiden.
Okay. Let's start off with the pig versus bear. Can I just say this? Think about it. Pig versus bear. I feel like that would be an amazing title for a Netflix series. Okay, you know what, Netflix? I'm open. I'm right here. If you want to share half, on my idea, that's fine. That's fine. But I mean, it sounds like a good idea, guys. I mean, honestly, that sounds like a fantastic Netflix series. And also, guys, imagine imagine having an elderly neighbor, feeling a little bit lonely, and then adopting them and calling him grandpa. That would be absolutely, I say it would be beautiful. And I bet it felt very less lonely that he had a family that called him grandpa. Very beautiful stories. Very, very beautiful stories, Joshua. And I will ask for everybody else, what was your favorite, guys? Because if mine was pig versus bear, but for you guys, what was your favorite? Because honestly, I feel like all of them were good, but pig versus bear is what's on top.
My favorite would have to be pig versus bear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree too. That was cute.
Pig versus bear.
Yeah, pig versus bear was absolutely the best animal news that I've heard. What about you, Jeff? What was your favorite?
I like the pig versus bear, and the two babies were cute. Twin babies were cute.
Yes. 2% survival rate and they're 7 years old. That's amazing to hear. That's an amazing story.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, though, Joshua, thank you so much for pig versus bear. Remember, guys, pig versus bear. Remember, share it with Netflix, but don't tell them the secret. Thank you so much, Joshua, for your animal news and, of course, your good story news. It's always awesome, and it's always the best thing that our fans absolutely thrive and absolutely fan about. I feel like you also topped it on again with your animal news this time, but I am going to be bringing you a third gaming news. What is it? Well, it's going to be my board game of the week. And what is it? It is actually a Japanese board game, but the translation here says that it is called The Unreliable Wizard. Well, that's kind of mean. What is The Unreliable Wizard? Well, you are an apprentice wizard tasked by the king with destroying the demon lord and thus saving the princess. What is it? It is a card-based solo game that has you advancing along the map, fighting enemy minions and gathering new magic and traveling companions to assist along the way. So what's going on here? You move your wizard along the map and pay life points across terrain. And certain terrain gives you points where you battle enemy minions, and you use your hand of cards to create magic by matching certain magic patterns. Your traveling companions may also apply some skills as well. And if you defeat the evil minions, you gain more cards which contain magic or traveling companions. And basically at the end of the game, if you defeat the Demon King at the end of the map, you win. I feel that this is a simplistic game that has simplistic rules, simplistic style, and it has a video game adaptation into it with skills, traveling companions, this and that. Sounds really interesting. And you know what, guys? It is a regional board game. It's a Japanese board game. So if you want to check out The Unreliable Wizard, I recommend that you do, because this was given an 8 out of 10. And that's a really high rating. Anyways, though, this has been the third gaming news, which was the board game. And next up, who do we have? I think next up is Logan. And I just cannot wait to hear what cooking knowledge he has to share.
Welcome, Youth Connect. I am Logan, and this will be the second part of my series in substituting ingredients. Now, if you remember from previous week, we talked about vegan substitutions. And for this week, the topic will be about alcohol substitutions. So basically, if you have someone who's like young or very ill of health who cannot have alcohol in their dishes, so this will be a series on how to substitute a series of different alcohols from their dishes. So first off, let's talk about beer. Now, to explain the general purpose of beer in cooking, it's usually to use the fermented or carbonated nature of beer to encourage a lot of bubbles in recipes such as bread or like a beer batter. So for an alcohol-free substitution of this, I would recommend using club soda or seltzer water, something that's flavorless and carbonated. Alternatively, there are some non-alcohol beer brands that you could probably use to substitute instead. Now, some stews might use a dark beer in their recipes. This is generally to add in depth of flavor. And it can be substituted if you want to use beef stock or mushroom stock if you also want to keep it vegan. So next up, I will talk about wine. The general purpose of wine in cooking is to add a hint of sweetness and acidity to dishes, such as a stew or a pan sauce. Now, to substitute the acidity of wine, something like tomato juice or coffee is similar to wine in terms of pH values, and you can add a little bit of honey or sugar to substitute in sweetness. Alternatively, certain juices like grape juice, cranberry juice, or pomegranate juice would also be able to substitute it well. You can also use either red wine or white wine vinegar, depending on which wine you're trying to substitute, since vinegar is very similar to wine in how it's fermented. Next up, I will go over cider. Now, the general purpose of cider in cooking is to bring in apple flavor and also those same carbonated bubbles that you would see from beer. Think of recipes like cider cakes and apple cider donuts. Alternatively, you can just use apple juice, and there's also a few non-alcoholic cider brands out there. Plus, there is also apple cider vinegar, which would also work very well as a substitute. Next up, I will talk about sake. Now, sake is a rice-based wine that's generally used in a lot of Japanese cooking. So, much like with cider or wine, there is also a rice wine vinegar that is very similar to sake, but without the alcohol in it, and it works as an excellent substitute. And so the final alcohol type that I'll go over is liquor or liqueur. So several flavored liqueurs are often found in ingredients in baked goods. For example, coffee liqueur is often used to make tiramisu. And for that one, specifically, a very good substitute would be to use a very strong brew coffee. For other flavored liqueurs, you could use a small amount of the same flavor as extract. Think, for example, if you want to substitute a vanilla liqueur, you could use vanilla extract, orange liqueur, an orange extract, peppermint extract, list goes on, etc. So that just about does it for all the alcohol types, but I will end this on a disclaimer. Generally, substituting alcohol in dishes is pretty pointless because, well, you're going to cook the dish anyway in most situations, cook or bake it, and either way, the high temperature that the food reaches will naturally burn away the alcohol and will generally make it safe to eat. But in the case that you have someone who's, oh darn, the phone's ringing, whatever. But in the general case that you're serving to someone who is very young, very old, you don't want to risk it with the alcohol. These are some substitutions that will work well in your recipes. So that just about does it for part 2 of my substitution series. And back to you, Aiden.
Now, I will say this, Logan. I'm not really the biggest alcohol fan because obviously my taste buds just aren't built for that. So it's interesting to hear about how many substitutes there are that are available. But it also is really good to hear that, you know what, I was thinking to myself, like, if I use wine in a sauce, will the alcohol be burned off? And now I know, thanks to Logan's awesome cooking tips. So thank you so much, Logan. Remember, guys, alcohol is a really good substitute or a really good taste enhancer when you're doing dishes. I've heard that they're amazing with steaks. But I mean, obviously, it depends on the person. If they really like it, then you should do it with it. But obviously, for me, I might need to do a beer-free steak, thank you. Maybe just some butter and maybe some rosemary and thyme. That sounds a way better for me, honestly. Now, I will say, though, we got to be thinking really high. Who do we have? I know who we have next. I always say it's a great cherry on top of an amazing Friday. Get ready to move your bodies. And who do we have? We have Jeffrey, our live musician.
Hi, everybody. Once again, I am performing live from my cottage in Manibannock, and I'm so excited to be performing music with you once again. And I'm gonna be performing an original song of mine called "Through the Darkness." So, hope you're ready to jam out because the song does rock out a bit as it progresses. So here we go. How dark today is. Tomorrow we'll capture the light. Not for a minute, an hour or day. Let it be in a second to become bright. Drop your sorrow and swallow your anger. No matter who you are or how dark your past is today, say no. Just remember to let it go. Release the pain, say no. Turn off your sorrow, just let it go. Tomorrow, we'll capture the light. It's time to stand up again. Hold on to my hand and and then we'll fall together through the pain. Like droplets of red-colored rain. All it takes a little flash and open dash of happiness. Glimpse of highlights, regular darkness. To brighten our mood and make things right. Need to work together, holding on so tight. To not be sorrow, don't swallow your anger. No matter who you are, hold on. Your past is big, say no. Turn off the sorrow, just let it go. Release the pain, say no. Turn off the sorrow, just let it go. Tomorrow, capture the light. It's time to stand up again. Hold on to my hand and then go fight together through the pain. Droplets of red-colored rain. All it takes a little flash, no open dash of happiness. Glimpse of highlight, break good darkness. To brighten our mood and make things right. We need to work together, holding on so tight. Turn off your sorrow, don't swallow your anger. No matter who you are or how dark your past is, say no. Turn off the sorrow, just let it go. Release the pain, say no. Turn off the sorrow, just let it go. Tomorrow, we'll capture the light. It's time to stand up again. Hold on to my hand and then we'll fall together through the pain. It's like lots of droplets over bright-colored rain. No matter we are, it's just you and me and everyone else. It's time to stand up again. Hold on to my hand and then we'll fight together to the pain. Now, droplets of bright-colored rain. What's I know? Droplets of bright-colored rain. Say out. Droplets of bright-colored rain. No matter who you are, it's just me, you and me, and everyone else. Hey everybody, this is Jeffrey, your live musician. I'll see you all next Friday, and it's back to you, Aiden. Bye, everyone. Oh. And make sure to check out my website, jeffreyinkerman.com. And it's back to you, Aiden.
Guys, tomorrow we will capture the light. That song is absolutely brilliant, Jeffrey. And you know what? It brings some positive vibes, especially if someone is having a bad day. Remember, there is always somebody to give you warmth. You just need to look, and sometimes they're not as far as you may seem. Anyways, though, this has been the end of our Youth Connect. Oh, such a great one, guys. We got tons of awesome stuff and tons of awesome things that we saw and we learned about. I hope that you liked the show. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And don't forget to click the notification bell.
Other than that, guys, we will see you all next time. Anyways, guys, catch you later. Thank you so much,
Bye.
Jeff. Thank you so much, Logan. Thank
Bye.
you so much, Joshua. And thank you so much, Kevin. Catch you later, guys.